Let's play a game called Question or Statement. I'm going to put a sentence on the screen and you tell me if it is a question that needs an answer or if it's just a statement telling you something. Okay, question or statement. I like to eat bananas. That one is statement. I'm just telling you something. That means it ends with a period or an exclamation point. All right, next one. Do you like to eat bananas? Is that a question or a statement? That is a question, which means it should end with a question mark. One of your clues was this, do you? That shows that it is asking you something. So this is a question because it needs an answer. Do you like to eat bananas? Yes, I do. Question or statement. Have you ever seen a monkey? That one is a question. That means it should end with a question mark. Have you? That's kind of the beginning of a question. Have you ever seen a monkey? It needs an answer. Yes, I have, or no, I have not. Question or statement. Should I pet a wild monkey? That one would be a question. And the answer is probably no. You should not do that. And last one, question or statement. A monkey has opposable thumbs. That one, does it need an answer? No, just telling you something. So you would end it with a period or an exclamation point. And an opposable thumb is a thumb similar to yours and mine. It can be used to hold things like pencils and to grip things tightly. Primates, like this gorilla, has an opposable thumb, just like we do, that kind of sticks out, looks very similar. Moving right along. We just focused on questions versus statements. Now we're going to work on restating a question. So when someone asks you a question such as, what grade are you in? You would not just answer them and say, third. Because if someone heard your answer here, but not the question, if somebody walked in and just heard you say, third, what, you got third place in a race? They wouldn't know what you were talking about. So we're going to use parts of this question to answer it. So instead of saying third, you could say, I am in the third grade. You're using part of this. When I didn't say what, because that was a question word, but grade I am in. Or you could say, what grade are you in? The grade I'm in is third grade. That would work too, because I'm using part of the question so that if somebody came in and heard me say the grade I'm in is third grade, they would know what the question was. Let's try another one. If you were going to restate this question, who is your art teacher? Which word would you not use because it is a question word? The word who, because that's asking about a person. So we know we're going to answer with a person, but instead of just saying our art teacher's name, Mr. Gibson, someone walking by would know what we're talking about. Mr. Gibson is cool. Mr. Gibson is the worst teacher ever. No. But what are we saying? So who's your art teacher? I could say use some of the question it gave you. Art teacher is Mr. Gibson. Okay, you try this next one. The question is, what's your favorite food? So I want you to think about how you will answer this question using parts of this question to restate it. You wouldn't use the question part, what's. So how would you say this? You may start with the word my. My what? My favorite food is, and then you would say whatever it was, pizza or whatever. We just practiced the R and the A of a skill called RAP, which we have done before. Remember, RAP stands for restate, answer, and prove it. So the restate was taking the question that you were already given and restating it, putting it back in the answer. Then you're going to answer it. The only part I didn't just demonstrate was the prove it. So we are going to read this article about Bessie Coleman. When we are done, we're going to answer this question with a restate and answer, and then I'm going to prove it using information from this article that I read. So today is an example, and then the rest of the week, you'll get a new article each day with a question so that you can practice your RAP skills. And why is this important? This is the kind of answer that you should be giving with all kinds of questions in your life, not just tests, not just questions Mrs. Yonke asks you, but with anything. because it is a really good way for you to prove, for you to show what you know. Instead of just saying it's raining outside, you'd be able to prove it. It's raining outside because I just let my dog out and she was soaking wet and had muddy paws. All right, here we go. Let's start by reading the article Bessie Coleman. Bessie Coleman was the first Black woman to receive her pilot's license in the world. The air is the only place free from prejudice, said Coleman. After receiving her pilot's license in 1922 in France, she returned to the United States, US, and made her first flight as an African American woman. During a time in US history when there was discrimination against Black people, Coleman became an aviation pioneer. Like a pioneer is like the first of something. Aviation would be airplanes. She performed stunts, parachuted, and did flying trick aerial shows. While practicing for one show, her plane crashed and Coleman was killed. Bessie was only 34 years old. Okay, so now that I've read it, I'm going to use the passage, Bessie Coleman, to answer the following question using the RAP method. So why was Bessie Coleman famous? I'm not just going to put the answer like this, she flew airplanes, because there's a lot of people that fly airplanes that are not famous. So I need to do a better answer, but also I skipped the very, very first step, which is to restate. So let me go back in there and restate. Why was Bessie Coleman famous? Bessie Coleman was famous. Notice I'm using several words. Bessie Coleman was famous from the original question, but I took out the word why. Why didn't I use the word why? Because like we did in our practice ones, that's a question word. All right, so Bessie Coleman was famous because, there's my restate. Now I'm going to give my answer. And it says it right in here, the first Black woman to receive her pilot's license in the world. So I don't have to make it up on my own. I can find it in the article because she was the first Black woman to receive her pilot's license in the world. And now if I want to prove it, I can find more from the article that would prove it. So air is the only place. After receiving her pilot's license, she returned to the United States, made her first flight as an African-American woman. Coleman became an aviation pioneer. So I could talk about how she performed tricks. This is proving that she got her pilot's license. She performed tricks like stunts and parachuted from her plane. There we go. So that, what I just put, was right there in the article, and that proves that she was a pilot. So I have restated, I have put an answer, and I have proved it. So restate, Bessie Coleman was famous. My answer is here because she was the first Black woman to receive her pilot's license in the world, and I proved that she was a pilot by the next line, okay? So this is what you will be doing the next several days with different articles, restating it, answering it, and proving it. If you turn it in and you do not restate, answer, and prove it, I will be sending it back to you to do it again. So you might as well do it correctly the first time. All right, that's it for today's writing lesson. Go ahead and do your next assignment.